Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashai, Baharakah, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, the leaders who taught us this truth. Peace and mercy to the Lord's elect. All right, Yahweh is the true name of who the world calls God, Jehovah, or Yahweh. Yahweh is ancient Hebrew, and it means he exists. All right, that's the name of the Almighty. All right, Yahweh Shai is the true name of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, Yeshua, or any other false name. Yahweh Shai means he deliver or he savior. All right, and that's who we look to for salvation. All right, us Israelites, which the true Israelites are us so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, during this time of all out hell and chaos, which we're entering into, Yahweh Shai is going to make his second coming with the angels, all right, to deliver an elect remnant of Israel and establish the kingdom of heaven on this planet. All right, so that entails of the current rulers of this society, all right, in particular, the so-called white man, all right, the so-called white people, which they are a heathen nation, all right, they are the biblical Edomites, the wicked, and they're currently running this earth in wickedness. All right, through their central bankers, the elite of them. All right, Yahweh Shai is going to come take them out. All right, and the rest of the heathen. Okay, that's what the kingdom of heaven is about. The Israelites ruling this earth in righteousness, and the earth will be healed. Okay, so that's the day we look forward and hasten. All right, so I'm back in the spirit with a quick video. Lord's will is edifying. Okay, and it's you know, this is for the brothers, you know, centered around this our ministry. You know, we have to remember our first love. All right, we have to remember the exact moment we were converted. All right, and we came, because when you came into the truth, when you started serving the Lord, you made a covenant with the Lord. You made an oath to the Lord. And there is no looking back. All right. The only thing behind us is death. All right. And we're seeing, you know, certain men that are, you know, getting feeble and giving up pretty much, you know, losing the faith and giving up. And it's crazy. It's scary because we're so close to the end. All right. We are so close. But you still have men that are going back into the world and giving up. Remember what the Lord told us. Remember Lot's wife. All right. During you know, Lot, his two daughters and his wife, during their exit out of Sodom as it was being destroyed by fire, they were instructed not to look back. All right. And Lot's wife looked back, and she got turned into, you know, a pillar of salt. You know, so Yahweh Shai reminded us of that example and told us to remember Lot's wife. Okay, so there is no looking back. Right. And the most recent example is you had, you know, most of us all know, but for those who don't know, you had this member that was a part of Great Millstone, and his brother was in another camp, a different offshoot camp. And the brother that was in Great Millstone told bros that he was trying to get this better job, you know, and he had a test coming up for the job, and pretty much he needed to take 3 weeks off of doing nothing. You know, not just 3 weeks off of camp, but he pretty much told brothers that he can't do videos, he can't study, he can't watch video, he can't do nothing concerning the truth. He can't do nothing for the Lord for 3 whole weeks. All right, which is crazy. All right, and like, you know, elders, you know, gave their input on it, and it makes sense. Pretty much that was just an excuse, you know, because he really doesn't want to be in the truth anymore. You know, so he's, you know, this is his excuse or reason to get kicked out, So now he could just do his own thing. He doesn't have to be under any order, and he could just scoff and talk shit, right? And just be free in the world, but what individuals like that doesn't understand is that you didn't just give up on your brothers, all right? You gave up on Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. There is no taking 3 weeks off. What the hell is that? Now, there's situations where a brother may, have to go out of town, or, certain rare situations pop up where maybe he isn't at the camp. His presence isn't at the camp, for, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long. But behind the camera, behind the scenes, that brother's still studying, still reading, still praying, still doing videos. But to say you can't absolutely do anything, that's insane. It doesn't even make sense. All right. So you pretty much denounced, the truth. You gave up. You could say you believe in all of that. But you know what? Let me just start off with this precept in Luke 9:62. All right. Because there's certain believers, that never picked up the plow. All right. Picking up the plow is a metaphor for, actually doing the work of the Lord, teaching and multiplying the talents that the Lord gave you. All right. But there's certain believers that are, hearers, and, they repent, but they were never meant to, actually prophesy or to teach the word. OK, but if you came into the truth and you did that and then you stopped doing it, hey, this is what Yahweh Shai says, Luke 9:62. And Yahweh Shai said unto him, no man, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right. So in other words, you ain't going to make it to the kingdom. All right. You're going to fall the fate of a 2/3. You're going to be destroyed. A painful death on this side. All right. And then eventually, who knows how long into the kingdom you'll be reborn. All right. But you won't make it. You won't be translated. If you put your hand to the plow, meaning you came into the truth, you started serving the Lord, and then you look back, meaning that you went back into the world and stopped doing the work, you're not fit. All right. Now, let me read. I wanted to get straight to that verse, but let me read up above, right where the headliner says the would-be followers of Yahweh Shai. And see, here's the thing. When we read through this passage, there's examples of men that gave the Lord all type of excuses, just like there's examples of men in this time that are giving the Lord all type of excuses. Oh, I got to get this better job. I got to study for it. Oh, my woman. Oh, my children. Oh, I got to go do this. Oh, I can't, come to camp for this amount of time because of this. So Luke 9:57, and it came to pass that as they went in the way, a certain man said unto him, Lord, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. And Yahweh Shai said unto him, foxes have holes and birds have of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. All right. And I'm sure this individual was offended at this, and he said unto another, follow me. But he said, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. Yahweh Shai said unto him, let the dead bury their dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right. So this other individual was offended at that. And this is another thing, this world is powerful. And if we're not careful, you could get sucked back into the world. All right. By many diverse ways, many diverse angles. All right. You got the worldly family demon, that's always trying to draw you back. All right. And, Satan to play on our flesh sometimes. We could get emotions in the flesh for, our earthly father, mother, earthly brothers and sisters, cousins, uncles, aunties that we were once real close with in the world. All right. But you got to understand, no matter how close you were to them and, how dear you held them in your heart, they hate the Lord. All right. And if you real with yourself, you know they do. They hate Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and they show it through their actions. Most of us have told our family members the truth when we first came in. They did not take heed. They continue to do their wickedness. All right. Even if they're cool, you might have that cool cousin or cool uncle where they ain't the most wicked person in the world. But at the end of the day, they heard this truth and rejected it. So what do you think the Lord's going to end up doing to them? All right. So that family demon, that could be a strong vortex to try to suck you back. All right. The best thing to do is to just detach, man. There's certain times where you might show your face or speak to someone on the phone, but, short and sweet. We planning this, let's get together. The wisest thing to do is, you know what? I wish I could make it, but I got work on that day. Maybe next time. But continuing. And another also said, Lord, I will follow thee, but let me first go bid them farewell, which are at home at my house. And Yahushua said unto him, no man, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. All right. And they actually, what Yahushua said right here in verse 62, this was actually a way that they lived in the ancient world. When you left the house for the day to go to work, and let's say you forgot something in the house, you didn't turn back to go get it. All right. That was considered like a bad omen, so to speak, for lack of better words. You just went on about your day. All right. But, more spiritually, what Yahushua is saying here, when you come to serve the Lord and you put off this world and you detach from this world, you don't go back and reattach. All right. That's almost like, you go back to that old man, a dog returned to his own vomit. Okay. So here's another precept I got here in Matthew 6:24. All right. Because another stronghold, a strong vortex to suck you into the world is that money demon, a bag, like the example of that dude that was in GMS talking about he can't do nothing for 3 weeks, because of this job or whatever. All right. Crazy. But Matthew 6:24 reads, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and Mammon. All right. And Mammon is an actual demon. All right. Let's go into that word Mammon. All right. So you cannot serve this world. You cannot chase the bag and be a servant of the Lord. All right. It does not work like that. The Lord is not accepting that sacrifice. OK, let's get what was it? Matthew 6:24. And we'll get the word for Mammon. Right. In the Greek, it is mammonos. It says treasure, riches. All right. Riches where it is personified and opposed to the Most High. All right. So the fame of this world, Federal Reserve notes. All right. Wealth, In the Strong's definition, it says wealth. All right. But, mammon itself, that's a deity, man. That's an actual demon. Greed. Okay. So that's the point. All right. The point, of this video, because I'm keeping it short. You have to fully detach from this world, because don't underestimate this world. This world is strong, and it could draw you back in. All right. And you have to be all in, all chips into this truth. All right. All in to serving Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Like it says in Romans 12:1, presenting our bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, which is our reasonable service. All right. By his mercy. All right. So Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to end it giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Baharakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the Lord's elect. Shalom.